Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident Podcast. It is a weekly chat about socially conscious topics impacting the culture. On this episode, we are joined by Sambaza, host and creator of the Sambaza Podcast. Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident Podcast, a weekly chat about socially conscious topics impacting the culture. We are with our co-host, Sambaza, host and creator of the Sambaza Podcast, a remarkable figure in the podcasting world, hailing from the Republic of Kenya. And he has garnered 3 nominations for Best African Diasporan Podcast by the APVA. In addition to this recognition, Sambaza has also been nominated for the Best Blog by the Texas Creator Awards. Since 2023, he has been a featured presenter at the Afros and Audio Podcast Festival, and he recently participated at the 2025 Podfest. Welcome, Sambaza. Hey.
Thank you, Jen. Another week. Hey, I might as well say it. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Okay.
Wait, today. Well, this week. Go ahead.
Yeah.
How have you been, though?
Hanging in there pretty good. We had some tough weather here around my neck of the woods, but we pulled through pretty good. But other than that, yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yes.
All right. So if everybody's okay, we're okay, ready to start the show.
Absolutely. And if you were affected by weather, there are resources, and we can share that in notes for people who were hit hard. We can share those resources so you can get help for that. But definitely excited to be with you guys on this different day that you normally see us. And we have a great guest. So really excited about that. We love having conversations with creatives in the space and experts in the space so that we can tap into some knowledge and share that with you guys. So today is going to be one of those days.
All right. I'm ready for the show.
Okay.
Right.
So you want to start us with the affirmation?
Oh, yes. The affirmation for today or this week is happiness is a choice, and today I choose to be happy. I'll repeat that again. Happiness is a choice, and today I choose to be happy. How about that?
Okay. Love it. Love it. So with that, we will pivot and get ready to introduce our guest. Our guest is a media entrepreneur, professional speaker, and podcast strategist who has mastered the art of building a sustainable and profitable platform in the ever-changing podcast industry. With a keen eye for innovation and content creation, he has helped numerous creators find their voice and monetize their craft. From launching his own media company to securing revenue streams through sponsorships and ads partnerships, our special guest is a trailblazer shaping the future of podcasting and public speaking. And he also has a musical background that he will share more about. Welcome, Mr. Geston Pierre.
Hello, glad to be here with the Woke by Accident and Sambaza Collective.
Thank you.
First of all, I love to see collaboration because one of my favorite proverbs is, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. So just glad to be here. And honored to have this time to have a conversation with you both.
Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Right. And to start off, I usually go search around in Africa, and I go look for a country and I look for a proverb from that particular country. Now, the country this week is Niger, and we're going to give a few facts about Niger, about 5 of them, but just short ones. Now, the facts about Niger. The Niger River is 2,597 miles long. It's the 3rd longest river in Africa behind the Nile and the Congo rivers. The source of the Niger River is Guinea Highlands in Guinea. That's another country. And it says the river discharges at the Niger Delta in Nigeria, which flows into the Atlantic Ocean via the Gulf of Guinea. So that's about the Niger River. And here's a proverb for today: he who marries a beauty marries trouble. The proverb again says, he who marries a beauty marries trouble. What can you say about the proverb?
Wow. Well, then you have to ask the question, the person who penned this quote, what was their definition of beauty? It must have been exterior, because there are a lot of things that may look good on the outside, but on the inside, they are rotten. So the takeaway for me is, don't be impressed by the glitter. Don't be impressed by status. Don't be impressed by position, but be more impressed by character and values and substance and things that can survive a long period of time, because beauty and looks obviously fade away in a physical sense, but those core things, they last forever and leave a legacy behind. So that's my takeaway from that quote.
Oh man, I appreciate that. That sounds so nice. All right, so we start with our question of the day, and excuse me. My question is, what inspired you to start your own media business?
Sure. Well, as a young boy.
Yes. Okay. Now start from the young boy. Give us a brief history about yourself, because we don't know who you are. So our viewers and our listeners want to know who you are first, and then what inspired you to start your own media business. Thank you.
Sure. So my name is Geston Pierre. I go by GP. I am from Florida. So I'm a Haitian of Haiti, from Haiti. I was born in Florida. And so proud Haitian American. I love black rice, and I just think Haitian rice and jollof rice are two of the best rices in the world. But grew up in Florida, and one of my hobbies was always tinkering around with my parents' cassette tapes and literally recording over them to the radio, acting like an MC or a radio host, or singing along to whatever the radio was playing at the time. And I got so many spankings, Jennifer and Sambaza, so many whoopings for ruining cassette tapes. But I tell you, I was in love with all things media. My dream job was to work in the radio industry and to work one day for NPR. That never happened. But over time, I would come to realize, as a podcaster, you can live out your dreams on your own terms. And so I'm a podcaster, public speaker. I'm a pastor. I also have done work as a performing recording artist. In 2011, I was on a reality TV show similar to like American Idol, but for a cappella groups. It's called The Sing Off on NBC. And we won that contest, a recording contract with Sony. So traveled the world, countless nominations from Stellar, Grammy, Dove, NAACP Image Awards. I do a lot of things. And so when it comes to media, a lot of those skills that I learned, whether in a studio, whether it's recording or editing audio files. When I dove into podcasting around 2020, all of those skill sets that I had just came into fruition. And so I found myself, as I was podcasting, I found myself helping other people, helping them to start strategically, helping them on selecting the right type of microphone, whether it should be dynamic or condenser or, all those tech things. I had it all figured out. And so I found myself in a coaching role early in my podcasting journey, because my philosophy has always been, if I have arrived to step number 4, then I can help someone who's at step number 3. And it's not that I know it all, but if you're always willing to help others, you always grow as you're serving, as you're helping others. And so I've always helped other people in the podcasting industry. And it was not until the end of 2024, just a few months ago, where I officially launched my media company and registered the LLC, but I've been doing the work for a long time. And so that's a summary of my journey. I've used my voice in different capacities as a public speaker, podcaster, performing artist. I've mastered the art of performing under pressure. And so when it comes to podcasting, I feel like it's just where everything connects full circle, where all my passions and gifts, they just shine. And I enjoy helping other podcasters as well. So that's what I can say for now. And I'll let you all poke and pry whichever direction you want. But that's a summary of me. I aspire to inspire 1 billion people before I expire. And so whether I use my voice to do it or I help them raise their voice to inspire others, but I want to be that agent of change because I believe in the power of voice and people spreading hope through whatever gifts they have.
That's awesome. And thank you for sharing that. I think that's the beauty of podcasting and being a creative, that you can use all of your talents and, make them come in, create this really cool digital piece and make it come to life. And so a lot of what you've done includes speaking engagements.
Yes.
And so that's something that, we've dipped our toes into. Sambaza here has been a speaker at some festivals and things like that. And so we want to kind of get some advice for someone who wants to start monetizing these speaking engagements.
Sure. Well, the reality is, there are so many opportunities for people to speak on various topics. If you think about the biggest issues going on in the world right now, from the government perspective, you could talk about job security, the economy. There are so many issues that cause people to worry about what's next, to worry about what's going to happen next. There are organizations who are trying to figure out, well, how do we maintain the morale of our work staff, right? So they bring in people. Think about it. The organizations all over the world bring in people to empower their own people. And so if you think about this other reality, every organization, every industry has their own conference. Think about cheese. Did you think about the fact that the cheese industry has its own conferences? And when they have events, they also use speakers. And so there are so many opportunities because the public speaking business is probably right now $100+ billion industry.
Oh, wow.
And people think, oh, my goodness, I have to get on the big stage to be a keynote presenter. Believe it or not, you could be a moderator or an MC interviewing panels, getting compensated. You could be doing breakout sessions in rooms with 15, 20, 30 people for 2 hours and getting compensated. And so it's not a one size fits all opportunity. But the question you have to ask yourself if you want to be a speaker is, what life experience do you have? Take an inventory on your journey. Take an inventory on what you are most passionate about. Take an inventory on what some of the biggest needs are in the world, right? If you are a mental health therapist and you desire to make a difference, when you look at the countless number of young people, teenagers, preteens who are struggling with suicide ideation, struggling with their insecurities, struggling with drug addictions from their parents' cabinets, school districts bring in professionals like you to help save lives. School districts have contract money available to book speakers. So I want to just share this before I pause to let you all react. For the school industry, the education industry, the average speaker can get up to $5,000 for one booking. Education alone. For the professional corporate industry, 10 to 20,000 average, right? So when you get started, of course, you may not have those paid speaking gigs, but the next question might be, well, how do you get opportunities even for speaking opportunities for free. How can you leverage that? Well, believe it or not, when you volunteer your services to an organization, you can ask for an in-kind letter, INKIND, in-kind letter that has their letterhead that states you provided a service that is valued at this amount, and you can give that document to Uncle Sam to still leverage that opportunity on the other side, even if you didn't get compensated. So I must confess, I started out speaking for free. And after being referred to another opportunity, I got compensated the second time. So you can't be afraid. You can't be full of pride. You need to be understanding of the fact to break into any industry, people need to know you before they can flow you. So I'll pause right there, let people process. I know I talk fast and I say a lot, but there are so many opportunities in the public speaking industry for people like you to break in.
Okay, so you answered my question. I'd like you to go on talking about the speaking opportunities to start. How do you continue to generate income? Like you say, the in-kind letter starts you off.
Yeah.
How long will it probably take you, depending on your field, to now start getting, confident? Do you need like about 2, 3, 4, 5 gigs, or things like that?
Yeah. So let's put it this way. If right now we're in the month of March, and if say you took the month of April, the end of this month, month of April, May, take inventory of your personal experience, things that you've gone through, what you're passionate about, and who you think you could best effectively serve. When you identify your target audience, because first of all, if you think you can reach everybody, you're going to reach nobody. You need to identify who you are best able to reach with your skill set and expertise. Once you identify them, you must then contact them. So if it's a school industry, if it's a professional organization, you need to start going on LinkedIn, connecting with people. How do you get their emails? Well, you can go to the website of the organization. Maybe you are in the healthcare industry. Go to the local hospitals in your city. Go to all the websites, find the staff, find out who is in administration, who is in charge of training, who is in HR. These people may need your expertise for a workshop for their employees. Also, every industry has an association. And so if I want to break into the education industry, I want to encourage you to think globally, but act locally. So how many schools are in my area? How many hospitals are in my area? How many law firms are in my area? How many mental health practices are in my area? So start with where you are. Draft a one-sheet document that highlights who you are, what you do, and what services you offer, what topics you talk about. One-page document. Start emailing those one-page documents to different leads and see who responds. Get in the room. If you find out there's an education conference going on in your city or area, listen, you might not be able to afford the ticket to that conference, but go to the hotel where the conference is happening and just sit in the lobby and just talk to people. You never know how you can be discovered and who can refer you to an opportunity. So don't be afraid to be unconventional, because the reality is if people don't know you, they can't flow you. So no matter what industry you identify to break into, there is an association. There are several associations in the education, healthcare, government industry. And so at those conferences, everyone in the industry oftentimes goes. And so if you try to make those connections with those people at those industries, with those event planners, you never know what can happen in the future. But I like to encourage people to get their reps in, which means every opportunity you get to speak, whether it's for free or for a fee. Because what you want to do is to document your journey. Every time you get an opportunity to speak, record it, because eventually you will need to also have I call it a trailer or a highlight reel of what you do, because people want to know that you can do what you claim to do. They're not booking you because you say you can do it. They're booking you because they have evidence that you can do what you said you can do. And so you have to have the social proof to say, hey, listen, I'm a speaker. Here's a 1-minute video of my speaking capabilities. Here's my one sheet that outlines my topics, a presentation. And if you're interested in booking me or having a conversation about my offerings, here's my link to have a conversation with me via email or Zoom. Would love to be considered. Because the reality is there are a lot of people who think that because they're gifted, they're going to be discovered. But that's not true. Being the best kept secret is not a compliment. You need to be able to put yourself out there and be willing to put yourself in what I call miracle territory, where others can find you. Start going on LinkedIn and showing up in those spaces where the people who can book you are hanging out. I'll give you one example. As an extension of my speaking, I also offer MC or moderating services, because as a podcaster, I do lots of interviews. And so conference planners can book me to interview people like Mike Tyson, who cannot talk, but who will fill conference seats just because he's Mike Tyson. You need to bring in a moderator to help get those gems out of Mike Tyson, right? When you book a non-speaker, you book them normally just because they're popular and you want to sell tickets. But you need a moderator to help share the content, to help provide a smooth flow for that person to shine. And so if I want to get booked in my industry as an MC or moderator, it would behoove of me to go to LinkedIn to identify, befriend, and have conversations with actual event planners and conference hosts. Why? You got to build relationships with the people who can book you. And so one of my suggestions is, if you want to break into an industry, one of the best ways to network with them is to start a podcast and start interviewing the people who you want to book you about their experiences. I call it power hacking.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to start a podcast that's called the Event Planners Hot Seat Podcast. And I'm going to interview event planners for 15 to 20 minutes about their best and worst experiences in the event planning industry. Then I'm going to bid them farewell, but they're going to leave that interview saying, oh, I know GP. I know what he does, and I'll keep him on my list for future events. It's easier to get someone to book on your podcast to talk about themselves or their experiences than it is to just cold call them or email them and expect to get a fraction of their busy time. Because realize that people are oftentimes honored to be considered to be a guest on a show, a podcast, because you're giving them an opportunity to shine.
Okay.
And certain people in certain industries don't get asked to shine often because they're oftentimes behind the scenes.
Right.
So don't sleep on the administrative assistant or secretary who works at the school down the street that you could be speaking at. Befriend her. Get to know her. Because those gatekeepers could open doors to your next breakthrough.
Oh, absolutely. Look, be friends with the janitor and the security guard, because they literally have the keys.
Come on now. Come on now.
Absolutely. And I love the idea about being in the lobby. Like, that makes me think, like, ask to volunteer, and things like that.
Put yourself in miracle territory.
Right.
And actually, volunteering is one of the best ways to get to talk to people, because I think when you volunteer, a lot of people pass through, depending on where you are at, a lot of people pass through you, and you will get a lot of communication, because people need to go somewhere, and you'll be like, hey, how you doing? And then you might get into a short conversation with people, and they're like, oh, okay, this is what you do. Okay. Then who knows?
Yep.
Absolutely. So here's my question. What role does branding play into standing out in the digital space? There's so many people. I have a podcast. So everybody has a podcast. You want to stand out. And so your brand is important, right? So do you agree that content creators should have their own website? Like, talk to us about branding.
Yeah, I think that branding is important because there is a lot of, I don't want to say this in a negative way, but there is a lot of content in the world. We are always being updated or pinged, or there's always something new happening on our streams on Facebook or YouTube or LinkedIn. And that's partly why our attention spans, I mean, it's tough. It's tough to retain attention. It's tough to build a brand. But what makes you unique, you need to make sure that you lean into that, because that is a part of your brand. Your USP, what I call your unique selling proposition. That is the thing that makes you different from all the other creators or podcasters or speakers in the world. So the question you have to ask is, what makes me different? And whatever makes you different, that's actually your brand. So what does that look like? So if I have a disability, maybe I have a serious health condition or a situation that I really wish that I did not have, but it's a part of my experience. I can't not deal with it. Instead of trying to hide it from the world, champion it. Champion the fact that you may have this particular challenge, because there are other people who may resonate with that challenge, who may be inspired by you persevering throughout all your challenges. And so identify your unique selling proposition. What makes you different from everyone else? Because there are a lot of people who do what you do, but nobody can do it like you, and nobody is you. And so be a champion of who you are, of where you are, and embrace it, because your brand is what will identify you and help you to be different from all the others in the world, in your space, in your industry, because the reality is there's only one you. And so if you're trying to be like somebody else, you're not showing up. And so you are needed. Like, you are created for a reason, and you need to make sure that you're being authentic to who you are. And so having a brand is the ability to be recognized for a particular thing. When you think of the word Tesla, Jennifer and Sambaza, what comes to mind when you hear the word Tesla?
Hippie, electric.
Hippie, electric. Okay. When you hear the term Starbucks, what comes to mind?
Frou-frou.
Busy people.
Expensive.
Yeah. I think of busy people. Yeah. Yeah. So branding is important. When you think of Apple, what do you think of?
A clique.
A clique, a tribe, a loyal family who looks down on anyone who's not one of them. I mean, Apple does not make the best products. I'm sorry. I have Apple everything. They are not the best.
I agree.
But they do the best marketing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. The Genius Bar, like, yeah.
And so when you have a brand that is recognizable, you build loyalty faster.
Right.
And so if you're not clear on what your brand is, it will be hard for you to build a tribe, build an audience, because there's no anchor point. Like, there has to be something that draws you into others. And the reality is your brand will not resonate with everybody.
True.
And you have to be okay with that.
Right.
But in this huge world, imagine if you were authentic to yourself and you got just 1,000 people in this big world to be loyal to you and what you do.
That is really true. So I have a side hustle in live selling. Okay. And so I sell on, a few different live selling platforms. And so there's so many people. When you go on live, you see all the different people, everybody's selling something, right? And so it's just like, why would they want to buy something from me when they got all these people? But it's funny, once you find or carve out your space, you start seeing the same ones come back, and you kind of create your own little tribe there.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's true. And I got some advice that they, which is actually called like super fans. And so, you know, you can call it super fans, or you can call it your tribe, or you can call it, you know, your people or whatever. But yeah, I've seen that in that space. So.
Yeah. And it does take time to build a brand.
Mm-hmm.
It takes consistency. You got to show up. You need to be true to who you are, and but over time you can build a brand. And I think the beauty of the brand is, you know, before you even open your mouth, before you even say anything, people know what you stand for when you show up.
Definitely.
I got an even better one. When you come to Kenya, there's a road. It's called Grogan Road. People go fix their cars over there, and it's not like it's just a street where you have these mechanics. But on that road, you will have like 10 people selling spare parts. Now there'll be spare parts for Nissans. 5 of them will sell Nissans. 5 of them will have the same products that are in all 5 of them. But guess what? You come back 2 years later, those businesses are still running. 5 years later, those businesses are still running. So it begs the question, you wonder, why is it that they are still in business and yet they all sell the same spare part? I mean, one spare part on this side for a Nissan, if it's a tire, not a tire, but if it's a light, it's still the same light. If they bring in a new light, you'll all have the same new light, or maybe someone will have an old one. But the point is, all of you are selling the same spare parts, but you're still in business. Why? Somebody offers extra service, somebody has a liking to somebody, or maybe somebody went the extra mile to help out. There's so many things that you can do to stand out.
Yeah. Definitely.
That's how we see it in Africa. Now, my other question was, we've had so many conversations here about how a creator should determine their fee or rate card. What advice do you have about leveraging free speaking engagements into paid ones? You already said you get that letter in kind.
Yeah.
But how do you set up a rate? Like, say, okay, like if this was a speaking gig, how will I say I went to speak at a Red Cross event, right? How would that equate to your rate card when you say you spoke in there vis-a-vis somebody else who, or maybe when you went to speak at a Boys and Girls Club, or you went to speak to maybe Humana organization, one of those 3. So looking at that, how do you, because these are 3 different places you've gone and spoken, or even you went to speak at a school, right?
Yep. Several schools. I've spoken on probably 20 college campuses.
Whoa.
So what I've discovered is in every particular industry, there are probably 15 to 20 different directions that you could go. So it can be overwhelming, because I realized that, because I kind of stumbled into it. Like, I started doing it, and someone invited me to share on a college campus in 2015, and I was getting ready to do it for free. And they were like, "Yeah, what's your fee?" And I was like, "I don't know, 500." And they rebutted and said, "No, really, like, what's your fee?" I was like, "Oh, 2,000." Crossing my fingers, and they're just like, "Okay." And I realized, college campuses have like 10 to 15 different departments and divisions that could book you to speak. So think about it. New student orientation. All the freshmen who come in to either high school or college, like let's say college, all the freshmen who come to college, they come in August or January. They have to have a big rally to motivate their students to stay focused, to do their best, and they bring in speakers. Colleges have student leaders. So the Student Government Association has to have a fall and spring leadership conference or camporee, and they need to bring in a speaker. You have the financial aid department. When the seniors are getting ready to graduate from college and they have to start paying back their loans, you need to bring in a speaker to talk to them about financial literacy. The Department of Counseling on every college campus host events, student services. I mean, within that one category, college campuses, there are 15 to 20 different entities that can book you. And so in the nonprofit space, it's the same way. And don't assume that because an organization is a nonprofit that they don't have any money. False. They just operate differently than a for-profit industry. They get grant money, they get donations, but they can pay you as well. And so if you go to a Boys and Girls Club and you make your services known to them and say, I would like to share with your young people in this particular way, the first time you do it, you may do it for free. But here's how you leverage it. Go in there, make sure someone comes with a camera behind you to capture you doing what you're doing. And when you're done, get the in-kind letter and get a referral from the people who heard you speak and ask them, can you share me as a referral to your colleagues in this community or in this state? I would love to do more of these. And so by asking them to give you a referral, you are positioning yourself to get more opportunities. But next time you do it, you'll have the video proof, you'll have a referral, you'll have a recommendation. And so that way you'll be able to say, this time I'll charge $500. I'll charge you $500, right? I'm not gonna do it for free anymore. And next time you may charge $1,000. And so you can be strategic and to increase your rate incrementally, but don't go in greedy. Don't go in trying to get rich. No. Just know that the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. And the more opportunities you get, the more you can charge, because those who are in demand can make demands. But if you're not in demand, you can't make demands. Why should they pay you $5,000 to speak if they've never heard of you or they don't know what you do? You're entitled. Make sure they know who you are, what you're about, what you can do. And when you do it before them, get the recommendations and referrals to then shop it around to other people like them who can now book you and say, okay, you've done this before. You know what you're doing. Okay, let's consider you for an opportunity. But you need to put in the work. You need to, what I call, put in the Malcolm Gladwell hours. That's 10,000 hours of doing the same thing so you can become a master at it. So for some of you, that means before you get your first gig, you're going to sit in front of your camera or laptop, craft a speech, and deliver it to an empty audience, because you need to practice. Share your message, tweak your message, get feedback. Don't be afraid to review the footage like sports players do. Record yourself talking and then watch it back. See what you do. See how your voice inflected, or just notice some things about yourself. Take notes of what to grow in. Invest in a coach. Don't be afraid. First of all, if you are unwilling to invest in yourself, but you want others to invest in you, you're a hypocrite. I was not comfortable charging anyone $5,000 to do anything until I had invested $5,000 of training in myself. That's just how I operate. I try to operate with integrity, right? And so if you are showing up in a space as a newbie or a rookie, understand that you need to grow. There will be a learning curve, but you won't be a rookie forever.
Right.
You're only doing those free speeches maybe 5 or 10 times max. After that, you're charging. So that's how you leverage those opportunities. Remember, the most important thing is not the income you make, but it's the outcome that comes from the message you share. And when you're outcome focused, the income will follow. If people realize you can help me accomplish what I'm trying to do, you can help our students be more focused, be more resilient. If you can help my company stop losing 10 nurses every month if you can improve my work culture at my job with your leadership expertise, if you can be a solution to the problems people have, you are valuable.
Right.
The question is going to be is, where do I send the wire? When you become a problem solver, you'll become in demand, and then you can make demands. So
I got a question. Go ahead.
I was going to say, so recap what I just said since the beginning. Who are you? What's your expertise? What problem do you solve? And who needs you to solve that problem? Go ahead.
Question on leveraging. How do books, because people talk about having books out there that they've written, how does that come in to play, especially in speaking gigs? Because people will say, okay, I've come to speak and I have a book, and you can buy my book, blah, 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 or you could buy an album that I've spoken to, or even these classes, master classes that you can offer. How do you use those as leverages? I mean, is that when you give free and then you leverage that, or how do they work?
It depends, because you can draft a 10-page PDF document with information. It's still a book, whether it's 15 pages or 500 pages. The question is, are you using the book as a lead magnet, as a business card, or are you using a book as a way to position you as a thought leader? So before you do anything, you have to ask, what's my goal? I want to become an author. Is my goal to build thought leadership, to become an expert in this area, to be able to pass around a free resource to anywhere I go, to build my email list? So whether you are using your book to give for free, or whether you are negotiating with your speaking to have a school district buy 5,000 books, I mean, you can do that. When it's your product, you can do what you want. Or if you want to shop your book into a curriculum, because one of the biggest industries that's growing is the training industry. Training industry. And if you have a product or a blueprint or something you have developed that is a asset or resource to other industries, they will pay for it. Now, you want to make sure you get it trademarked and it's yours and you own everything. But even with contracting, I know of some colleagues who they wrote a book for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders about social learning skills and soft skills. And they shopped it around to school districts, and the school district has a contract to use their books for 1 year. And that's one contract. So we're going to buy this book for the 4th graders in our school district. That's 20,000 books. So you get the contract for 1 year. And if we like it, we'll renew the contract for another grade or for other divisions. So you can literally shop your product and use it as a contract in the government industry, in the education industry. If you teach something, if you're a coach, if you have an online course, that is content that can be repurposed as creative as you want it to be repurposed. And so remember, everything you do is a part of your blueprint. And if you're clear on what value you bring to the world, it all depends on where you want it to go. Honestly, that's what it is. How far do you want your content to go? Because all content can be repurposed for particular purposes. And so the limits are up to you.
Okay. Awesome.
I was told that by somebody at the Podfest, actually. I was sitting with a lady right next to me, and I talked to her about my podcast, and she said, look, you have stuff on your podcast? Yeah, you can do anything you want to do with it and make money out of it. You just have to figure it out. That's your key issue. Figure it out. I hope we can get her here for a conversation one of these fine days. But yeah, we appreciate that. Now, before we move, I want to give a shout out to Ed Campbell. He is our guest today. Always shows up, nice brother. And he said, that was a profound response, my brother. That was regarding to that proverb that we had said. I think after you talked about you having singing background, he said, "Yeah, can we get the brother to sing a quick song?" Oh, I don't know. You good with it? We've had somebody do a freestyle.
Uh-oh. I don't know if I'm
So,
going to sing tonight, but we'll see. We'll see how
oh
things
wait, it's okay. We can always do it another time. No pressure. No pressure.
No pressure.
All right. Over to you, Jed.
Yeah. And so, can you share some common mistakes that people make? I mean, you mentioned a really huge one where, like you said, you can't make these demands or come in with this kind of entitled mentality. So, what are some other things we need to avoid?
Yeah. I think that you need to become a student of whatever topic you are most passionate about. And so if your topic is resilience, if your topic is overcoming trauma, if your topic is navigating transition, if your topic is how to be successful in school and in life, whatever your topic is that you think you can champion, you need to be sure that you're a student of that topic, which means you don't know everything. You need to be learning more and more about that topic. The research pertaining to that topic, you need to know, not because you're going to go into every presentation sharing everything you know, but you need to know what's on the cutting edge of your conversation of topic, right? So as a student of your topic or industry or niche, stay on top of what's going on. Also, be aware of the current trends. Right now, we have a shift where, I mean, you literally go to any school, go to any place where young people are, and you see the trends are changing. I mean, I was shocked the other day. I went to a little elementary school. I think every single kid had a cell phone. They had an iPhone, better iPhones than me. And I'm like, I realized something. I'm like, oh, snap. Children are the new decision makers.
Mm.
There was a time when parents were decision makers. Right. If you think about it, children are the new decision makers. Now, I'm not going to blame it on the soft parenting movement. I'm not going to blame it on anybody. But what I'm saying is that the things have shifted, and pay attention to the current trends, because, that should help you move toward where you're trying to go with more clarity and intention. So if you know that children are the new decision makers and you have a product that's targeted for a certain demographic, how does that affect how you do it, where you do it, the approach that you take to do it? So just be aware of what's trending, be aware of what's happening, current events. I mean, you could always leverage what's happening currently into whatever industry. Like I just watched a headline about Michelle Obama at South by Southwest in Texas, major conference that happens every year. She was doing a podcast episode with her brother. And I realized, listen, podcasting is not just something you do, for, particular events, but when it comes to major headlining conferences, they're using and leveraging podcasting as a way to capture what's going on, to interview celebrities, and to have content that can later be repurposed however they please. And so podcasting has shaped and shifted the way that we take in media, the way that we receive our news, the way we view politics. Podcasting has played a major role in all things. And so if we don't acknowledge the shift that's happening, then you would be a fool to think that you can just be in any industry and not consider having a podcast of your own to get a small piece of that pie.
Absolutely.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. Now I have a question from my end. What would you ask your 20-year-old self? Or what would you tell? No, what would you ask? What would you tell your 20-year-old self?
Oh man, I would tell my 20-year-old self to start now. don't doubt your capabilities. Don't doubt your experiences. Don't doubt your abilities. When I was 21 years old, I was standing on a national televised competition on TV, singing in front of 9 million people, knees shaking, just unaware of what the future would hold. But I realized, man, had I approached life with a little more confidence, I could have gotten a lot further earlier. So I consider myself a late bloomer. Now, I say that jokingly. I'm 37 years old, right? I say I'm a late bloomer because some of the things that I'm doing now, I should have done when I was 18.
I feel like that too.
Yeah. I always say there's a time and a place.
Yeah. And so my thing is, if you are aware of your gifts and what you bring to the world, don't let excuses hold you back. Go for it. Live boldly. Because honestly, tomorrow is not promised, right? One of my favorite quotes, my favorite quote is, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That's why it's called the present, right?
Yes.
So don't wait for tomorrow. Go for it today. You know?
Absolutely.
So one of my regrets that I have is, some of the things that I could have done earlier in life that I kind of put on the back burner. But I'm in a season now where I find myself willing to take more risk, to go all in, because honestly, you never know what may happen. And so why not just put yourself out there and go for it?
Absolutely. And even though you didn't share a song, I can totally tell that you can sing because your speaking voice is just so crystal, and I can hear the song in you without you even singing it.
True. And I think Ed Campbell has something to say here. He says, "This is a masterclass. Thanks very much."
Oh,
very valuable information.
Thank you, Ed. I'll actually be hosting a masterclass the end of this month, a free virtual masterclass for podcasters and content creators. And I literally plan to just pour in all that I know for an hour, and I'll be giving away the new Shure MV7i. This microphone has a interface on the inside.
Yes.
Which means you can plug it into your laptop and then plug another microphone into it or your guitar into it and have a crisp recording with a USB connection.
Oh, wow.
And let me add that it cuts off the sound, like the outside sound, it cuts it off completely. So if you could be in a noisy hall and you will not hear anything, it's only your voice that'll be projected in there. I tried it and I was like, wow.
Yeah. So I'm going to be giving this microphone away to some lucky person who comes to the webinar. So if anybody's interested, I can drop the information in the chat. But yeah, we're going to have an hour of information, inspiration to inspire your pod journey. And one person is going to win this thing.
Oh, nice.
Definitely want to share that out. You've shared so much great information this evening, and we appreciate you. So we definitely want to see you again on the class.
Oh yeah. So could you share us where people can find you? By the way, that's the last thing I wanted to ask. Where we can find you, and then we'll plug in the rest of the masterclass information.
Sure. I mean, you can find me on social media hanging out. Geston Pierre, first and last name, Geston Pierre. And if you want to see me in action, just go to givmethatmic.eventbrite.com. givmethatmic.eventbrite.com. And you can connect with me further there to grow and connect for an hour. So I just dropped it in the private chat. If you guys can drop it in the public chat, and that'd be great.
Awesome.
You got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Yay.
Here we go.
Absolutely. We will
We're
definitely
gonna,
put that.
put this on our show notes so that people can have that as well. All right.
Awesome.
Jen, with that, can you take us home?
Yes. And again, we thank you guys for joining us. We hope that you found today's conversations enlightening and inspiring. If you found the episode meaningful, we invite you to share it with friends and family. If you made it this far in the episode, also like, just subscribe and share. And our collective awareness and advocacy play a crucial role in creating positive change. We invite you to stay tuned for more engaging content, and we look forward to having more of these wonderful conversations in the future. Mr. Pierre, GP, we ask you to stick around for our proper goodbye, but everyone else, we thank you and take care.
Peace.
At this time, we're going to go ahead and conclude the episode. We greatly appreciate you listening. We invite you to follow us on social media. On Instagram, it is Woke by Accident Podcast. On Twitter, it is Woke by. On Facebook, it is Woke by Accident Podcast. We also have the new website up, www.wokebyaccident.net. Please check us out. And also follow us on all of your favorite streaming platforms. And please leave a review and share feedback. You can also reach out by Gmail, wokebyaccident@gmail.com. And every time you listen, we appreciate it so much. Thank you for listening and take care.